is my moment, watch me shine. I'm unstoppable, feel it in my soul. Good vibes only, I'm in control. Turn the music up, let the rhythm roll. I move my body, I'm alive, I glow. Unstoppable, dancing through the fire. Every step higher, taking me higher. Smile so big, can't hold it in. Good vibes, good life, let's begin. Every scar made me wiser. Every tear lit the fire. I don't fear what's ahead.
And we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Arnath, and I am the face behind this business page, YouTube page, and my personal page. How are you, everybody? All right, so tonight is my day 6 of this 30-day Go Live challenge that I have been doing with my team and other business partners whom I shared this PDF, guys. And super grateful to be here to really share this shareable tag bait, which is I am speaking directly to working parents or working women out there or working moms out there too, right? And tonight is the night where I will be talking about the person that is scrolling right now and feeling stuck, right? So I'm really speaking to you directly, to the woman is scrolling right now who feels stuck. So yes, you, right? The woman is scrolling right now. But before I start, for those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Araneth, and I am the face behind this beautiful pages, and that I am streaming it to three pages: my personal, my business, and my YouTube page. Yeah. So if you're a mom like me, this message is for you. And I don't know where you're sitting. Maybe you're lying in bed, probably. Maybe the kids finally went to sleep. Maybe you're sitting in your car for a few minutes because it's the only quiet place you have. Maybe you're on lunch break. Maybe you're sitting on the couch, scrolling through your phone, watching everybody else's life and wondering, when is something going to change for me? If that's you, I really want to talk to you. Not everybody watching this, just you, because maybe lately you've been feeling stuck financially, maybe stuck in your career, stuck between being a good mom and trying to build a better future for your family. Maybe you have dreams, but you don't even know where to begin anymore, right? And maybe nobody knows this about you too, because from the outside you look strong. Probably you go to work, you take care of your family, you pay your bills, you answer messages, you cook, you clean, you make sure everybody else is okay. People look at you and think she's got it all together. But sometimes when you're finally alone, you wonder, is this really going to be my life forever? You know, work, bills, responsibilities, repeat, right? Work, bills, responsibility, repeat. And please hear me, a working parent like me, a working mom like me. I'm not telling you that your life is bad. I'm not also telling you that you telling you not to be grateful, right? You can be incredibly grateful for what you have and still desire something different. You can love your family and want more time with them. You can appreciate your job and still want another source of income, right? You can be thankful for your paycheck and still know that depending on one paycheck makes you uncomfortable. You can be a grateful mother and still have dreams that belongs to you. And those things can exist at the same time. And maybe you needed somebody to tell you that tonight, and maybe this could be my life tonight really does speak to you directly, you know. And then there's so many questions that we normally ask as a working mom or as a working parent. I'm tired of living like this. That's one of those questions. And let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about what you actually want? Not what your children need, not what your husband needs, right? Not what your boss needs, not what your parents need, probably, and not what everybody else expects from you. What do you really want? That is the biggest questions that Bob Proctor always tell us every mastermind. What do you want? Think about that. Because women like us can become a good at taking care of everybody, that we forget there is still a woman underneath all those responsibilities, right? There's still a dreamer in there. There's still a woman with ideas, and there's still you who wants to travel. There's still a woman who wants to create something in their life, and there's still a mom who wants to wake up excited about her life, right? And also who wants to feel proud of herself. Maybe you buried her, not intentionally, because life happened, right? Bills happened, children happened, and responsibilities, fear happened, right? And somewhere along the way, surviving became the priority. And I totally understand that, and I learned from that because I've been there. For many years, I believed the answer was simple: work harder. I came from a very small tribe, and at the age of 5 years old, I really know how to, how to cook. If money was tight, work harder. Those are the things that I've learned before too. If I wanted something, work harder. If I want to provide for my family, work harder. That's what many of us were taught, especially if you're a hardworking woman, yeah, especially if you came from a family where sacrifice was normal. We were taught by our parents, right? Get a good job, work hard, don't complain, go to school, save money, be responsible, take good care of your family. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with hard work. Hard work builds so much of my life. But eventually, I had to ask myself, is working harder the only answer? Because there are only 24 hours in a day. Eventually, you run out of hours. And if your only strategy is for earning more money, is giving more hours, what happens when there are no more hours to give? That question changed the way I look at my life. And maybe you're listening to me as maybe you needed this. Maybe you don't need more motivation. Maybe you're listening to me thinking, but I'm already exhausted. Exactly, right? That's why I'm not here to tell you, come on girl, work harder. No. You probably don't need somebody telling you to work harder. You're already working hard. You don't need more guilt. You don't need another motivational quote telling you to wake up at 4 a.m. and hustle until midnight, right? What you may need is a different strategy, because sometimes we're not stuck because we're lazy. Sometimes we're stuck because we keep using the same solution. We keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different result. That is there's a word on insanity. That's something that I've learned from my mentors, that if you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result, that's insanity. So that's why, think about it. If you've been working harder for 5 years and you're still worried about money, Maybe the answer isn't simply another 5 years of working harder. Maybe it's learning something different. Just like nowadays, I'm learning how to use AI, because I really want to adapt myself into the new technologies at the moment that makes my life easier, that make my kids easier, that makes my business easier, right? Maybe it's creating something different too. Maybe it's developing another skill. Maybe it's building another stream of income. Maybe it's starting something of your own. And I know the second I say start a business, your brain might immediately say, me? I don't know anything about business. Wow, it's the same thing with me. It's the same question that I asked myself 6 years ago. I don't know nothing about the business, but I jump in anyway. I'm not good at selling. I'm not confident. I don't have enough money back then. I don't have time. I'm not techy. What if I fail? What if people think? What if nobody supports me? Those are the questions that comes in my mind 6 years ago. And I understand. But here's something I've learned. You don't need confidence before you begin. Sometimes confidence comes because you began. Read that again in your mind. You don't always need confidence to start. You start, you learn, you make mistakes, you improve, you get small results, and then that's where the confidence starts showing up, right? So now I want to talk to the mom watching me right now. Whether it's probably you're watching me live or watching me on replay, right? Because this one is so personal. You love your children. You will do anything for them. That's exactly why you work so hard. But isn't it strange? Sometimes we're working so hard for our children that the work keeps us away from our children. Right? That's a hard realization. Because you think I'm doing this for them, and you are, and you're praying for the house, food, school, clothes, activities, vacations, everything, right? But then one day you look at your child and they're taller, their voice change, they're going to another grade, they're becoming independent. They don't want you to kiss them anymore, right? This happened with my little girl. Mommy, I don't want you to drop me off at school anymore because I'm a big girl. I'm 13. I want a bank account. Ooh, that really hits hard for me. And you think, when did that happen? That's what scared me. Children don't stay little while we're building our careers. They don't pause. There's no button to say like, can you stop growing? Wait until mommy has enough money. Time keeps moving, and I'm not saying to quit your job tomorrow. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm saying maybe it's worth asking whether there's something you can start building alongside the life you already have. Something small, something part-time, something you can learn, something that belongs to you. Because, guys, starting a business doesn't always mean walking into your boss office tomorrow and saying, I quit, right? Sometimes starting a business means 1 hour tonight, learning, researching, creating, talking to somebody who has done it, and probably watching a training on YouTube, writing down an idea, making your first post, sending your first messages, taking one step. That's how things begin. I know what you're thinking. That's nice, but I don't have time. Probably, right? Those are mostly the excuses of people when we share this business opportunity. I don't have time. And let's talk about that. Because I used to think you needed these blocks of time, 3 hours, 5 hours, an entire free day. But most moms don't have that. We have pieces, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, an hour after bedtime, a lunch break, time waiting in the car, Saturday morning. And here's what I've learned. You don't necessarily need more time. You need to become intentional with some of the time you already have. It's how you manage your activities. I'm not telling you to sacrifice sleep. I'm not telling you to ignore your family. I'm saying look at your week. Where are the small pockets? Because imagine giving yourself even one focus hours a day, 7 hours a week, around 30 hours a month. That's hundreds of focus hours in a year. What could you learn in hundreds of hours? What could you build? What could you become? We somehow underestimate what can happen when small actions are repeated consistently. And just like me, I work full time. I use 15 minutes of my break time to work on my business, an hour of my lunchtime, 15 minutes in the evening, and then I in the afternoon break, and then an hour, 2 hours when my kids are asleep. And I don't watch TV, and I'd rather use to this time to watch TV or Netflix to work on my business. Because remember, you are doing this to build the life that you desire. When you turn 60, right? Your goal is to retire early and so you can spend more time with your family, right? Sacrifice now and enjoy life later, right? Don't wait until you're retired and then you only have few years to enjoy life, right? And then one common questions that we heard all the time is, what if I fail? Let's talk about the big one, you know, this big one, failure. What if you start, it doesn't work? Okay, but let me ask you another question. What happens if you don't start? Ooh, right? We always calculate the risk of trying, but we rarely calculate the risk of staying exactly where we are, I mean. What happens if nothing changes? 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years. Are you okay with that? If the answer is yes, that's okay. But if something inside you immediately says no, listen to that. Sometimes the bigger risk isn't failing. Sometimes the bigger risk is waiting up years later thinking, I knew I wanted something different, but I was too scared to try. Right? Failure doesn't have to have to mean it didn't work. Failure can mean I learned something. I discovered what not to do. At least I tried it, you know. I become stronger, I develop a skill, I met someone, I changed direction, I tried again. Because successful people aren't people who never fail. They're people who stop treating every failure like a final verdict, right? You don't have to be an expert, no? But what do I know? A lot more than you think. You have life experience. You have career experience. You know how to solve problems. You know how to communicate. You know how to organize, to take care of people. You know how to learn how to survive difficult reasons. And most importantly, you can learn what you don't know. Business is not something you're born knowing, guys. People learn it. Marketing can be learned. I don't know anything about online business 6 years ago. Communication can be learned, sales can be learned, technology can be learned, leadership can be learned, but your personality cannot be learned. Content creation can be learned too. We provide training, and confidence can be developed as well. So you don't need to know everything. You need to become willing to learn the next thing. That's very different. That's why stop waiting to feel ready. You might never feel completely ready. I didn't. Most people don't, right? We think there's going to be some magical morning where we wake up and suddenly say, "Oh, today's the day. I have zero fear," right? Usually that doesn't happen. You start scared, you start uncertain, you start asking questions, right? You start using Google, you start using YouTube also to learn something new. You start watching people who know more than you. You start making mistakes, and slowly what's gonna happen? The person who was afraid becomes the person helping somebody else. And that's growth. You know, when I started this business, I don't have nobody. And what I did, I learned. I I served someone who is not even my mentees. You know, I help a business partner. I share my what I know, right? That's where it all started. I connect with people that knows what they're doing. You know, your first conversation might go nowhere. Your first month not look anything like you imagine. So what? You're learning anyway. The woman you're becoming needs practice. Give her some. And sometimes we fear money. And let's talk about that because sometimes people say money isn't everything. Of course it isn't. But money affects many things. Your housing, your rent, your food, your education, your healthcare, your travel, your experiences, your choices, your time, right? The ability to help your parents, the ability to support someone, to donate to charities, the ability to handle an emergency without panicking. And wanting more financial breathing room doesn't make you greedy, right? What matters is what money means to you and what you do with it. For me, money isn't just about buying things, it's about choices you make. It's about being able to say, I can be there, I can help you, I can take the day off, I can buy you lunch, right? I can support my family, I can contribute. That's different. And that's why I believe women need to learn about income, not just saving, not just budgeting. Those things matter, but also how can I create value out from that, right? How can I increase my skills and how can I create another source of income? Those questions can change your future. One source of income, for a long time, many of us were taught that one good job equals security. But life, oh man, but life can change quickly. Companies restructure, industries change, expenses increase, emergencies happen. Laid off is happening anywhere, and that doesn't mean we should live afraid, right? It means we should become aware. You don't buy an umbrella because you hate sunshine. No, you buy an umbrella because sometimes it rains. That's how I think about an additional source of income. It's not fear, it's not preparation. Maybe your business starts small. Maybe it makes nothing at first. Maybe it eventually pays one bill, then two, then groceries, right? Then something comes bigger. Everybody's results will be different. There are no guarantees. But even learning how to create income outside a paycheck can change the way you think. Because suddenly you realize I have options and options can create hope, you know. So for those of you, if you are a mom or a daughter or a woman, this is for you, woman to woman. When did you stop dreaming? Seriously, when? Was it after becoming a mom or was it after getting married? Was it after starting your career? Was it after somebody disappointed you? Right? What was it after you tried something and failed? Or maybe somebody laughed at your idea. Or maybe somewhere along the way, maybe you became practical, right? Responsible, realistic. And there's nothing wrong with responsibility. But sometimes being realistic becomes another name for abandoning ourselves, honestly. Right? You don't need to abandon your responsibilities to rediscover your dreams, right? Both can exist. You can pack lunches and build a dream. You can work your job and learn a new skill. You can take your child to soccer, to school, and listen to a business training in the car. And that's exactly what I do. I answer inquiries when I go and pick up my kids at school. You can be a wife, a mother, a daughter, a professional, and still build something that is yours. That's why for me, this is something that I've learned. Never ever compare your chapter 1 to someone else. And please stop looking at somebody else who's been doing this for 10 years and using their success as evidence that you're behind, right? You're seeing chapter 20, you're comparing it to your chapter 1. You see the followers of other people, you didn't see the first post. You see the business, you didn't see the mistakes. You know, you see the confidence of someone else, but you didn't see the insecurity she has the first time she started something new, right? You see the money, but you didn't see the months of years of learning. Social media can make success look instant. Most meaningful things aren't. That's why give yourself permission to be a beginner. Beginners aren't embarrassing. I'm still a student. I treat myself as a student every single day. Beginners are brave because they are willing to be bad at something long enough to become good. Always, always remember that. That's why you don't need everyone's approval. This one might be difficult. Not everybody will understand this. Some people might say, why are you doing that, right? You already have a job, and I get that all the time. That won't work, Arnett. You have multiple hats, right? That you're doing. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a daughter, you work, you have a business, you're an author, right? So many things. Everybody's doing that. You're wasting your time. That's what they always say. And sometimes the people saying those things loves you. They're not necessarily bad people. They're looking at your dream through their experiences. But they don't have to live your life. You do. You can listen respectfully without handing somebody else the steering wheel. Ask yourself, has this person built the life I'm trying to build, or these people are trying to put money on the table or food in the table, right? If not, maybe their fear doesn't need to become your decision. It is still your decision, right? So again, your business doesn't have to start perfectly. Maybe you're thinking, okay, but what business? Don't complicate it. Start with question, what problems can I help solve? What skills do I already have? What am I willing to learn, and what do I want to help with? What products, services, system, or opportunities already exist that align with me, that align with my vision, right? What business model fits my current life at the moment? And please do your research. Ask questions. Understand what you're joining. Understand the cost, the expectations, the product, the business model, and the business involves risk. Always remember that. Don't join something because somebody promises easy money. Those are actually the one that's scary. Easy money, there's no such thing as easy money. Probably those are scams, right? Don't believe guaranteed income claims. Build with your eyes open. But don't let the existence of risk convince you that you should explore anything. You have to educate yourself first. Then once you're done with that, then make a decision, right? And always, always start before you're confident. Maybe your first step tonight isn't starting the entire business. Maybe your first step is simply saying, I'm willing to explore what's possible out there, right? That's enough. Because again, guys, transformation often begins with a decision before it becomes a result. Maybe tonight you write, I want another source of income. I want more flexibility. I want to build something of my own, right? I want to become more present with my children. I want to discover what I'm capable of. Then ask honest questions. What's one action I can take tomorrow or today? Not 100 actions. One, maybe you need to do your research. Maybe a simple call. Maybe watch a training. Maybe write your business idea. Maybe message somebody. Maybe create your first piece of content. Just one action. Then tomorrow, another, right? That's the way it is. That's duplication, right? And people always say, like, oh, I'm too old to do something new. Maybe, no, you're not too old to start. Your experience, there's a difference. Imagine anything, right? Imagine anything you know now compared with yourself at 20. You understand people differently. You understand responsibly. You have that resilience. You understand disappointment. You understand commitment. Those experiences that you had in the past have value. The internet doesn't only need 20 years olds dancing in front of cameras, right? It needs women with experience, women with stories, women who have raised children, women who have built their careers, who have survived hard season, and who understand what real life looks like, right? Someone needs different perspective, your perspective, you know. That's why this is something that I will always say to my team, because they're all women. You don't have to become someone else. You also don't need to become loud. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to suddenly become somebody you're not. If you're quiet, build quietly. If you're shy, start small. Right? If you don't like being on camera, learn other ways to communicate. Just like in our business, we have faceless marketing. If you're shy showing yourself on camera, right? If you don't like selling, learn how to educate and serve, right? If technology scares you, learn one tool at a time. Your business should help you grow. It shouldn't require you to become fake. There's a difference between leaving your comfort zone and abandoning who you are. You are here to grow. That's why never ever pretend. Always think about your purpose. Maybe the reason you're uncomfortable isn't because your life is terrible. Maybe you simply outgrown something. Sometimes discomfort is information. You're still there thinking there has to be more in your life. Maybe there is. Maybe your next chapter isn't about escaping your current life. Maybe it's about expanding it, right? Maybe everything you've been through has been preparing you to help someone else, to help somebody else, right? Maybe your career taught you discipline, which it did mine. Motherhood taught you patience, and your financial struggles taught you compassion. Maybe rejection taught you resilience too. Maybe starting over, right over, taught you courage, and maybe none of it was wasted. What if your story becomes somebody else's survival guide? And that is my favorite one. That's why for me, I'm never scared to share my story, because I maybe that is the only way for someone to be inspired, or maybe this could be a survival guide for them, or maybe this could be a healing for them. That's why think about that. Your voice could be someone else answered prayer too. That's why if if you're a woman, right? If and I'm a woman of faith, and I believe in prayer. I believe in asking God for direction, whatever you believe in. But I also believe there are moments when the answer to our prayer requires movement from us. We pray for opportunity, but then opportunity arrives looking like work. We pray for confidence, but confidence arrives disguised as something uncomfortable we need to do, right? We pray for change, and then we're asking us to change. Sometimes we're waiting for another sign, also another confirmation, another perfect moment, and maybe the next thing simply is to take that step you already know you need to take. That's why pray, listen, and move. Faith doesn't mean you know exactly how everything will turn out. No, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes faith means taking the next step while trusting that more direction will come, right? So always imagine. And I want you to do something. Imagine yourself 3 years from now. What if you are somewhere safe? Picture yourself. Picture her. The woman you could become. How does she wake up? How does she feel? How does she spend her mornings? What does she do for work? How does she earn? How much time does she have with her children, right? What does she believe about herself? How does she walk into a room? How does she handle problems? What does she no longer tolerate? So many things, guys. Now imagine she talked to you tonight. What would she say? What would she say, right? Maybe she's saying, thank you for starting, Aranette. Thank you for not giving up on you. Thank you for doing that scary thing. Thank you for learning. Thank you for ignoring the people who laugh at you. And maybe thank you for believing there could be something more. And maybe the life she has begins with the decision you're making now. That's why the first 30 days, if you're serious about changing something, give yourself 30 days. Not to become rich, not to completely transform your life, just to prove yourself that you can keep your promise to yourself for 30 days, right? Whatever may be. Maybe you want to learn something, study, research. Just spend your time and do it intentional. Talk to people, develop a skill, create something new, take action, right? And track what you do, not just result, actions, because results sometimes takes time, but actions are yours. That's why ask yourself every evening, what did I do today that moved me one step closer to my goal? Some days the answer might be huge. Other days you probably did watch 20 minutes training. That's okay. At least you're moving forward, right? That's why you stop asking, can I? Instead, can I do this? With how can I learn to do this? They change the wording. There's completely different question. Can I? That means you're asking permission. How can I? Looks for solution. Can I build this business? No. Change the language. How can I learn? Can I create another income? How can I create value? So many. I love there's so many powerful words that you can do. You just need to change the language itself. Can I become confident? How can I become 1% braver today? Change the question, and your brain starts looking for different answers. Right? So, oh my God, there's so many things that I can share with you guys, but it's already 39 minutes. One thing that I'm going to be sharing with you guys are your children are watching. And moms, your children are watching more than you think. They're watching how you handle fear. They're watching how you talk to yourself. They're watching whether you keep promises to yourself. They're watching whether you try. Imagine your daughter watching you build something. Imagine her learning. Mom was scared, but she tried anyway. Imagine your son learning. Mom didn't quit because something was difficult. That's powerful. Success isn't the only lesson. Courage is a lesson. Persistence is a lesson. Learning is a lesson. Starting again is a lesson. Okay? That's something that I really want to share it with you guys. And I want to finish where we started. This isn't for everybody. I'm talking to one woman who is watching right now. Maybe it's you. The woman lying in bed, wondering if she's capable of more, right? The woman sitting in her car trying not to cry. The woman worried about another bill. The woman who loves her children as much. Her children so much that she wants to create a different path, a different future. The woman who has been putting everybody first. The woman who has an idea she keeps talking to herself out of, right? The woman who thinks she isn't confident enough. The woman who keeps saying, maybe next year. I want you to hear me. You don't have to become completely different woman tomorrow. You don't need the entire plan tonight. You don't need an approval from someone else. You need one decision. I'm going to explore what's possible and then take action. That's it. One decision, one action, then another, then another. Because 1 year from now, I want you to remember the woman you are tonight. The woman is scrolling, the woman wondering, questioning herself, and I want the future version of you to look back at her and say, thank you, right? I did this. Thank you for finally listening to yourself. Thank you for taking the first step, right? Beginnings can feel scary, but beginnings can also be beautiful. So tonight, guys, don't pressure yourself to figure out your entire future. Just ask, what's my next step? Then take it. And if that next step is exploring the possibility of starting a business, explore it. Do your research, learn, take your time, make an informed decision. But don't allow fear to make decisions for you because your children are growing. Time is moving, and so are you. You still have dreams. You have purpose. You still have something inside you, and maybe, just maybe, the woman you're becoming is waiting for the woman you are right now. To finally say, okay, I'm ready to begin. Not because I'm fearless, right? Not because you know everything, because you know how to figure things out. What if I tried? Right? So the woman scrolling right now, I see you. And I hope tonight you see yourself differently too. Not someone who is stuck, right? But someone who is starting and but as someone who is starting, and sometimes that's where everything changes. So I'm really hoping and praying that whatever you learn tonight can be a gateway for you to take action, to make a decision tonight, right? Today, not tomorrow, tonight. Okay, so always keep that in mind. And I see you, I understand you, because I've been there.
Mom,
It only takes me one decision
Mom, where's your charger?
to do something
Mom!
different.
Where's
Yeah,
the charger?
it should be there here.
Oh,
Yes, so that's it for me, everyone. And taking this little one to bed now because it's already almost 10 o'clock. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for my day 7 of this 30-day Go Live challenge. Bye-bye.
This is my moment, watch me shine. I'm unstoppable, feel it in my soul.